What if everything we thought we knew about Blood of My Blood was just the beginning of a much darker secret? The ending of season 1 didn't just close a chapter, it quietly opened a door that might rewrite the entire Outlander universe. The look on Julia's face, the mysterious stones, and that haunting word, Claire, none of it was random. It was a coded message, one that hints season 2 is about to connect timelines, rewrite destinies, and reveal truths that even book readers never saw coming. Let's start with that heart-wrenching ending. Julia and Henry standing before the stones, everything around them collapsing, and one single choice that could change centuries. Henry whispers Claire, his voice shaking, his hand reaching out as if he already knows what's waiting on the other side. But here's where it gets interesting. Fans have been debating whether Julia and Henry actually traveled through time or if they were left behind, trapped between timelines because they didn't have gemstones. Remember, Outlander has always made it clear, you need a gemstone to pass through safely. Without it, the stones can reject you. Why would the writers leave that out? Why not show them holding one? The reason might be much bigger than we think. Because what if Henry is the key? Not the gemstone, but the person who can travel without one. Think about it. If Brian and Ellen's love story was meant to show how bloodlines and destiny intertwine, then Henry and Julia could be the bridge between the old world and the new. Season 2 could finally reveal that time travel isn't about magic stones alone. It's about legacy, emotion, and sacrifice. The final moments of season 1 were designed to confuse us, and it worked brilliantly. Julia's trembling hand, the panic in her eyes. It wasn't just fear. It was recognition. She seemed to understand something in that instant, something Henry didn't. Fans have pointed out the faint sound right before the screen faded, the sound of rushing wind, the same sound Claire hears when she time travels. But what's strange is, this time, there was also a faint child's laughter. Was that William's? Or was that the echo of young Claire, the same little girl we saw earlier in the finale? Now, here's where season 2 might completely flip the story. In the Outlander timeline, Claire's parents die in a car crash when she's 5. But Blood of My Blood has already shown it's willing to rewrite history. What if that car crash wasn't an accident at all? What if it was the result of a failed attempt to return through the stones? We saw Uncle Lamb being incredibly protective of Claire in the finale, almost too protective. He seemed to know things no ordinary man would know about fate, about choices, about not being able to change the past. Could he be hiding his own connection to time travel? Uncle Lamb might not just be Claire's guardian. He could be part of the same secret society that protects time travelers, a group that ensures certain events in history happen exactly as they should. And if that's true, then season 2 could take us deep into his past, revealing how he met Claire's parents and why he knew so much about the supernatural. It would also explain why Claire grew up with an instinct for danger and discovery. The traits we thought were just part of her personality might actually be inherited. Meanwhile, on the 18th century side, things are far from peaceful. Brian and Ellen are hiding, but the rebellion storyline from the finale suggests the danger is only beginning. Remember how Murtaugh sacrificed his own feelings to protect them? That wasn't just loyalty, it was prophecy. There's a line from the books that says, "Love that bleeds through generations can't be buried by time." Season 2 might show that Murtaugh's choices ripple forward into the lives of Julia and Henry centuries later. And what about Jocasta? She was easily one of the most underrated characters of the finale. Strong, sharp, and quietly emotional. Her decision to help Ellen and Brian may seem small now, but it could have huge consequences later. Some fans believe Jocasta will take over as the protector of Ellen's unborn child, ensuring the Fraser line continues no matter what. If that's true, then season 2 could open with her making an impossible choice: betray her clan or protect the bloodline that will one day lead to Jamie Fraser himself. All these threads, Claire's childhood, Uncle Lamb's secrets, Julia and Henry's fate, and Ellen's unborn child, are about to collide in season 2. But here's the twist no one's talking about. The timelines might not run parallel anymore. Instead, they could merge. Imagine a world where Claire's memories begin to overlap with Julia's, where past and future blur, and where the same blood runs through two versions of time. The showrunners hinted in interviews that season 2 will redefine the rules of time travel. If that's true, we might see Claire encounter someone who feels hauntingly familiar because she carries their blood. Season 1 ended with heartbreak, mystery, and loss, but the message beneath it was clear. This story isn't about love versus time, it's about love through time. Season 2 is ready to explore what happens when that love refuses to die, even when history itself tries to erase it. There's something haunting about how Blood of My Blood ended, not with resolution, but with echoes. The wind through the stones, the silent scream from Julia's lips, Henry's desperate touch. It all felt like a goodbye to one world and a quiet welcome to another. But the truth is, season 2 isn't just going to answer what happened to them. It's going to make us question why it happened. Because nothing in this universe happens by accident, especially not when time itself seems to have chosen these people. Let's go back to that final moment. The camera lingered on Julia's face for a few seconds longer than it should have. Why? Because the writers wanted us to notice something. Her expression wasn't pure fear. It was recognition, as if she remembered being there before. The same stones, the same sound, the same sensation of being pulled through time. Could it be that Julia has already traveled before, but her memory was erased? This might sound wild, but Outlander has explored this concept subtly. Time loops, recurring fates, repeated lives. What if Blood of My Blood expands on that idea? Think about it. Julia's connection to Claire could go beyond blood. It could be spiritual. The word Claire, whispered by Henry, may not have been just a name. It might have been a trigger, a memory buried deep inside Julia that connects her to Claire's timeline. If season 2 decides to play with this thread, we could see Julia waking up not in the 18th century, but in another point of time entirely, somewhere between Claire's youth and Jamie's rise. The show could explore the lost years we never saw in Outlander through Julia's eyes, and here's where things might get dangerous. If Julia, Henry, or even little William end up traveling to a different century, they could disrupt the fragile timeline that holds the Fraser legacy together. Every action in the past has a reaction in the future, and that might be the biggest theme of season 2. Blood isn't just a metaphor here. It's the link that ties every generation together. One wrong move could mean erasing entire lineages, including Claire's. Meanwhile, back in the 18th century, Brian and Ellen's story is far from over. Their love may have survived betrayal and bloodshed, but war is coming. The rebellion hinted in the finale isn't just background noise, it's destiny closing in. If Brian is drawn into battle, the stakes rise for Ellen and the unborn child she's hiding. Fans who read Outlander's companion novels know that Ellen's pregnancy is what eventually leads to Jamie Fraser's birth, but the series seems to be adding new layers to it. We might see Ellen torn between running for safety and staying to fight for a future she's only begun to believe in. And what about Jocasta? Her sharp intuition and quiet strength were some of the highlights of season 1, but she may be standing on the edge of her own tragedy. If she chooses to protect Ellen, she could be forced to turn against her own family. Remember, the Mackenzies are not just allies, they're power brokers. Season 2 could explore the heavy cost of loyalty. Jocasta may become the show's moral anchor, someone who has to make impossible decisions in the shadow of her brother Colum's ruthless ambition. Now, let's talk about Uncle Lam. In the finale, he appeared to be a gentle scholar, a loving guardian, but look closely at his words. Some doors are not meant to be opened twice, he said to young Claire. That's not just a line, it's a warning. He knows about the stones. He knows about time travel. So how deep does his knowledge go? Could Uncle Lam have been part of a hidden circle of time travelers who've been protecting the secret for centuries? If so, that circle might resurface in season 2, possibly with members who recognize Julia or Henry as returning echoes from another life. And here's the most chilling theory. What if Uncle Lam isn't who he says he is? There's a growing theory among fans that he may not be fully from Claire's time. The way he interacts with the world feels too deliberate, as if he's already seen everything unfold. He could be one of the original travelers, one of the few who've learned how to move between eras without the pain or disorientation. If this turns out to be true, Season 2 could peel back the mystery of how time travel began, revealing that Claire's entire life was part of a greater design set in motion long before she was born. The emotional core of Blood of My Blood has always been love. Love tested, broken, and reborn through generations. But in Season 2, that love could face something more terrifying than time: consequence. Every secret, every choice made in Season 1 will have a price. Malcolm Grant's death, for example, wasn't just a tragic end to a character, it was the spark that might ignite a much larger war. Henry's connection to Malcolm's family, Julia's hidden power, and Brian's guilt will all collide as the truth unfolds. And if the rumors are true, we might finally get a crossover moment, a scene that ties directly into Outlander Season 8. Imagine Claire discovering a letter written by a woman named Julia, centuries old, describing a boy who looks exactly like William. That would change everything we know about the Outlander timeline. It would confirm that Julia and Henry's story isn't separate. It's the foundation of everything that comes later. So, as we wait for the trailer for Blood of My Blood Season 2, one question hangs over everything. If time can't be controlled, can it be rewritten? Because this time, the stakes aren't just about love surviving history. It's about whether history can survive love itself. Season 2 of Blood of My Blood is shaping up to be more than just a continuation. It's becoming a reckoning. Every secret left unsolved in Season 1 is ready to explode, and the biggest mystery of all might be the one hiding in plain sight: the bloodline itself. Who carries the true legacy of time travel? Claire may have been the one to open the door, but Season 2 could show us who built it. The trailer will likely begin with echoes of the stones, whispers, screams, and faces caught between centuries. And then we'll see them: Julia, Henry, and little William, their fate suspended between past and future. But what if they didn't go forward or back? What if they're stuck between timelines, a place where time flows differently, where memories of every life collide? That liminal space could become the most dangerous setting of all. Because in there, time doesn't forgive, it rewrites. The showrunners have hinted that Season 2 will unravel the birth of the bloodline, and that line alone changes everything. We've always believed that Brian and Ellen's story was simply the origin of the Frasers. But what if it's bigger? What if their child's lineage carries the ability to alter the course of time itself? Julia and Henry's connection to them might not just be emotional, it could be genetic. Their blood might hold what Uncle Lamb called the traveler's mark, a rare trait passed through generations, capable of moving through time without the need for gemstones. That's why the finale didn't show them holding one. They never needed it. If that's true, Season 2 might finally explain how the stones choose their travelers. They don't choose randomly. They respond to the blood that calls them. And in Julia's case, her bloodline may trace directly back to Ellen's unborn child, meaning she could be a direct descendant of the original Time Walker family. That revelation alone would make her the most important character in the entire Outlander universe. But with power comes danger. If Julia and Henry survive the time rift, they won't be alone. Someone or something will be waiting. Remember the mysterious sound at the end of the finale? Many fans missed it, but if you listen carefully, there's a low, rhythmic hum, almost mechanical. That could mean Season 2 introduces a new kind of traveler. Not one bound by stones or blood, but by knowledge. A scholar, perhaps from Uncle Lamb's circle, who has found a way to manipulate the stones artificially. This could shift the entire mythology, revealing that science and magic have always been intertwined. Meanwhile, back in the 18th century, the world is on the brink of chaos. The rebellion grows stronger, and the Highland clans are dividing. Brian and Ellen's hideaway at the Botworthy won't stay secret for long. Someone will betray them, and it might be someone we least expect. Jocasta's loyalty will be tested when Colum discovers her involvement. The result could tear the Mackenzie family apart and set off a chain of revenge that echoes across centuries. Ellen's pregnancy will also become a central focus. The moment she realizes her child carries more than just the Fraser name, everything will change. The trailer might tease visions: Ellen seeing flashes of faces she's never met, hearing whispers of names like Claire and Jamie. Those glimpses will confirm that time isn't linear, it's cyclical. Every generation relives fragments of the one before, and this brings us to the emotional heart of season 2, sacrifice. Someone will have to make a choice between saving the future and protecting the past. The writers love parallels, and just as Claire once chose to stay in the 18th century with Jamie, Julia might be forced to make her own impossible decision. To save her family, she may have to erase herself from history entirely. Imagine her realizing that by existing, she's disrupting the balance of time and choosing to vanish so the world can heal. It would be tragic, poetic, and perfectly aligned with the show's theme. Love that transcends time must sometimes surrender to it, but even in loss, there's hope. Blood of My Blood has always been about resilience, about how one act of love can echo through centuries. If Julia disappears, her essence might not be gone forever. It could live on as a faint voice, a guiding force for Claire years later. That would explain why Claire often describes feeling a presence she can't define, a whisper in the wind, a warmth by the stones. Maybe that was Julia all along, guiding her descendant home. And what about Henry? His final moments in the trailer could hint at redemption. Once viewed as reckless and stubborn, he might emerge as the protector, the one who carries the story forward. If he returns alone, bearing knowledge of what he saw between worlds, he could become the missing link between eras. Imagine him finding a journal, Julia's final words, and setting out to make sure her sacrifice wasn't in vain. That could bridge Blood of My Blood directly into Outlander's 8th and final season, closing the loop between generations in one breathtaking circle. Oh, what does it all mean? Season 2 won't just tell another love story. It's preparing to rewrite the myth of the stones themselves. We're not just watching characters survive time travel. We're watching them become time itself. Blood, love, memory, all bound together in one eternal cycle. When the trailer drops, look for the details. The flicker of Claire's locket, the echo of young Ellen's lullaby, the shadow that lingers behind Uncle Lamb. Each moment will hold a clue to how the story connects. Because this time, the question isn't who will travel. It's who will be remembered. As the stones hum once more and the bloodline awakens, one thing is certain. Blood of My Blood Season 2 won't just change the story. It will change everything we thought we knew about destiny, family, and the price of love through time.